بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Dear brothers and sisters, I'm going to explain the rules regarding a dead body or the rules of Mayyet. When a person dies, there are certain rituals, certain norms and rules that need to be followed. Of course, the dead body of a Muslim, regardless of whether that dead body belongs to a woman or a man or a minor or an elderly person, is respected. And it is necessary for the mu'mineen, for the believers, to hasten the burial. They should take quick action to bury the dead body, because it's likely that the dead body might be decomposed, and as a result, the dead body will tear or will burst in such a way that it would be difficult for the believers to bury the dead body. On the other hand, if the body is decomposed, it is considered as disregard, as disrespect for the believer, for the mu'min, for the dead body. Therefore, it's recommended to inform the mu'minin to take part in the funeral ceremony, and of course, all the necessary procedures and necessary actions need to be taken in connection with the burial. Of course, if there is autopsy that need to be taken because of a criminal investigation, the burial can be delayed. It is permissible to delay the burial insofar as the investigation has not been completed, because the crime or the criminal has to be ascertained, and that is more important. For example, if a crime has been committed, for example, and someone has been killed, or there is a kind of suspicion going on around the death of an individual, it is necessary that the cause of the death be ascertained, be made known. And that's why, for that reason, it's permissible to delay the burial. If a dead body is going to be buried, and the first thing, of course, that needs to be taken into consideration is that the dead body has to be washed, and ghusl has to be given to the dead body. Of course, it is obligatory on the guardian of the dead body. For example, if a man has died, it is obligatory on his son, who is considered to be the guardian, of course, to take action for the ghusl. And if a son has died, it is necessary for the father to take action, quick action, to wash the body and to prepare for the funeral. And of course, in the absence of a guardian, in the absence of a father or a mother or a brother, or in the absence of a close relative, it is necessary for the mu'mineen, for the believers, for those who know, and for the believers in general to bury the dead body. It is an obligation that should be fulfilled by all mu'mineen. Of course, if someone takes action, if someone buries, or maybe takes the necessary action, others are relieved of the obligation. Others are not supposed to take an action because they are relieved of the obligation. The job has been done by someone else. So no one is considered to be sinful. But if no one takes an action, if no one buries a dead body, then all are considered sinful. If a woman dies, of course, it is necessary for her husband to perform the ghusl or to give her the ghusl. And of course, according to some scholars, it's better for the woman's husband not to do it. If the woman's mother or if the woman's sisters are alive, if there are other women who can wash the dead body of a woman, then it is better for the husband not to do that. Of course, this is a precaution. It's not a fatwa. If there's not any woman to give ghusl to the dead body, then of course the husband or the father or the brother can do this. There is a kind of precedence, a kind of priority in regard to giving ghusl. As long as the father is there, then, for example, I'm giving an example of a woman. As long as the mother is there, or the sister is there, or as long as there is a woman who can give ghusl to the dead body of a woman, the father or brothers or other blood relatives who are considered to be mahram to the woman should not do this. But if there are no women to give ghusl, then the father should take action. If the father is not there, then the woman's brother should give ghusl to the dead body. And this precedence, this priority has to be observed, it has to be taken into consideration. Of course, as long as the father is there, the brother of the woman should not do this. As I said, the father takes precedence over the son. The grandfather takes precedence over the brothers. And the real brother takes precedence over the stepbrother. This is the precedence. And it should be noted that it is haram for the person who is giving ghusl to a dead body to look at the private parts of the dead body. It's not permissible under any circumstance to expose the dead body's private organs. Of course, if a person does look at the private organs, the ghusl will not be made void, it will still be in place, it will be valid. But the person who has done this act has committed a sin, he has committed an offense. So it's always necessary to cover the private part and wash and make water reach the body parts under the cover, under the covering. If you put a piece of cloth on the private parts, of course you have to make water reach all parts, not a single part of the body, not a small part of the body should be left out dry. Water should reach all parts of the dead body, that is necessary. But exposing the private parts is, of course, impermissible, it's a haram act, and that should not be done. When it comes to the procedure or the rules of ghusl, we should know that it's obligatory to give 3 ghusls to a dead body. The first bathing or the first ghusl should be with water mixed with sidr. Of course, sidr leaves is a kind of herb, and this sidr, of course, is found in the market. The water should be a small quantity of sidr should be added to the water, and then the first bathing, the first ghusl, should be with the water mixed with the sidr leaves, and the second ghusl should be with the water mixed with camphor, and the third ghusl should be with unmixed water, with pure water. So these are the 3 ghusls. Now, the amount of sidr and camphor should not be too much to make the water look mixed, to make the water look something different other than water. The water should remain water, but the perfume, the smell should be that of camphor and that of sidr. Of course, sidr is added to water in order to create a smell, and also camphor is added for the same purpose, and the quantity of sidr and camphor should not be added, should not be too much to make the water look like mudaf water, to make water look like mixed water. And the third ghusl, of course, should be with clear and unmixed water. That is very important. If a person dies in the state of ihram while performing the Hajj pilgrimage, you know very well that it's haram for a person in the state of ihram to use perfume. If he ever uses, it will be obligatory for him to give a penalty. Now what if a person in the state of ihram dies and he fails to complete the whole Hajj? The ground religious authorities have said that it's not permissible to use camphor to that person who has died in the state of ihram. Instead of camphor, pure and unmixed water should be used. But in case the Haji and the pilgrim has completed his sa'i. The sa'i, of course, the jogging between Safa and Marwa, that is called sa'i. If he has completed the sa'i, then it is permissible to use the camphor. But if he has not completed the sa'i, then it's not permissible to use camphor. If, of course, this is with regards to those pilgrims who perform Hajj Tamattu or the obligatory Hajj, people who go from distant places, from remote places to Mecca to perform the obligatory Hajj. The obligatory Hajj is called Hajj Tamattu. But as for those who perform Hajj Qiran and Hajj Ifrat, these are people who perform Hajj from the very close areas surrounding Mecca. Of course, as for these people, if they are in the state of Ihram, it's not permissible to give a ghusl using camphor, and so far as the pilgrim has not done the shaving the head. If a pilgrim has shaved his head, then it is permissible to use camphor, otherwise it's not permissible. The reason we cannot use camphor, as I mentioned, is that it is haram for a pilgrim to use perfume, to use fragrance, to use sweet smell. That is the reason. The water which is used should be halal water, it should be permissible, and the water should be clean. It should not be mixed with something else other than camphor and other than sidr, which I mentioned, of course. Especially the third ghusl, which we give with unmixed water, with pure water, that water should be clean and it should come from a halal source. It should not have been taken from somewhere without permission of the owner. It has been said by Muslim scholars, by religious authorities, that the person giving ghusl should be preferably a Shia Muslim, a person who believes in the 12 Imams or a 12 Shia. That is, of course, not obligatory, but it is a preferred action. It is recommended that the person who gives the ghusl should be a Shia, and he should be an Imami Shia, a person who believes in the 12 Imams, of course. But okay, if someone else does the ghusl, but he is Muslim, let's say there's a dead body belonging to a Muslim, and he belongs to a different sect, and he is given ghusl by a Sunni or by someone else who believes in Islam and who is treated and considered to be Muslim, then the job is done. It's not necessary for others to perform the ghusl once again or to give ghusl to that dead body once again. The job is done and others are relieved of the obligation. One thing I forgot to add is that in the absence of that sidr and camphor, I should have stated that earlier also, of course, but I remember that in the absence of camphor and sidr, which are not available everywhere, and of course there are occasions when people and when Muslims do not have access to sidr and to camphor. Of course, if a small quantity of these two things are available, then that small quantity should be used. But in the absence of these two things, of course, we have to use only unmixed water, and the unmixed water would suffice. But it is necessary to give 3 ghusl to a dead body. one ghusl is not sufficient, because someone would say, okay, if we don't have sidr, if we don't have comfort, then one ghusl would be sufficient. No, 3 ghusl has to be given. And of course, if it had been obligatory for a person to perform ghusl janabat, or if it had been obligatory for a woman to perform ghusl haiz or ghusl nifas, and it had been obligatory on a woman or a man to perform different ghusl, so it is not necessary in such a case and such a situation to repeat the ghusl and to give all the 3 or 4 or more or less ghusl to the dead body. One ghusl would suffice for all those obligatory ghusl. One is enough, and that has to be remembered. Now, if someone dies and he is Muslim, whoever performs the ghusl, whoever gives the ghusl to the dead body, that would suffice. But as I mentioned, it is recommended that the person giving ghusl should be a Shia Muslim and a believer of the 12 Imams. And of course, it should always be remembered that it is an act of duty. It is a religious act. It is an act which requires qurbah. It requires the intention. One's intention for doing these acts should be to comply God's order. And a person who is giving ghusl should have it in his mind that he is doing it in compliance with a divine injunction. That is what we call niyat and niyat qurbat. We should seek proximity to God. We should seek closeness to God by performing an act, a religious action. This is a duty, a religious action, which we cannot do for money. It's not permissible to take money for giving ghusl to a dead body. It's haram. Okay. But there are some preparations, some preliminary actions. It is permissible to take money for the preliminary actions, for buying the clothes, for preparing the materials, for going and coming, and all these actions which are not directly related to giving ghusl. These are called preparatory actions or preliminary actions. Of course, it is permissible to get the money for these actions. And of course, those people whose profession, whose career is to give ghusl to the dead body, they should remember that if they are going to take money, they should take money for their preparations, not for giving ghusl, because giving ghusl is a divine obligation. Now, it is not permissible if a dead body belongs to a non-Muslim. It's not permissible to give ghusl and to shroud the dead body, and also to do the other procedures, other actions that we do to a dead body, to the body of a Muslim. These are not obligations. These are not obligatory, and of course, it's not permissible to do this. If the dead body belongs to a non-Muslim, of course, even his children, if a child dies and that child belongs to a non-Muslim, of course, the ghusl and also the kafan, shrouding, and also dafn of a non-Muslim and his children are not allowed. But of course, if someone is innocent and he belongs to the Muslim community, innocent, of course, he is innocent, and he has been innocent since his childhood, it is necessary to perform ghusl, to give ghusl to that dead to that dead body, even if he did not offer prayers, even if it was not known that he, of course, was sane or insane, of course, at the time of death, then it's necessary to perform ghusl to that dead body. If a child is, or if a fetus is born and the child is dead, the child comes out and the child is dead, the ground religious authorities have said that if the child has reached its fourth month or completed the 4th month of conception, the 4th month of its age, then it is necessary to give ghusl to that dead body. But if the child has not completed the 4th month, then it's permissible to wrap the fetus in a piece of cloth and then bury the fetus. It's not necessary to wash the dead body. And the ground religious authorities, of course, have said that if no man is available to give ghusl to the dead body of a man, there are only women available, then of course his kinswoman who are his mahram should take the action. She could be the dead body's mother, she could be his sister, she could be his aunt, and all those women who are mahram to the dead body should take the action. And similarly, if a woman dies and there's no woman to do the job, then it's necessary for the woman's father or maybe brothers or those or uncle to give ghusl to the dead body. As I said, the precedence has to be observed. As long as the father is there, the son or the brother, the brothers or the uncles or the cousins, and the uncles, of course, cannot do this. But if the father is not there, then the precedence, the son should do this, the brother should do this. It's not necessary that if there is any essential impurity on the dead body, the essential impurity should be removed. The essential impurity should be removed before washing the dead body. Because if there is an essential impurity, then it will form a barrier. It will prevent water from reaching the skin. So the essential impurity or any substance that might prevent the water from reaching the skin must be removed. Even if that is not an essential impurity, that has to be removed because it will prevent water from reaching the skin. But if there is any essential impurity, it has to be removed before performing or before giving ghusl to the dead body. And of course, giving ghusl to a dead body is similar to any other ghusl. It should be, and there is no difference between this ghusl and any other ghusl. It should be, first of all, the person who is given ghusl, it is necessary that his head and neck should be washed, and then the right side of the body, and then the left side of the body should be washed if the ghusl is performed in a sequential manner, in an orderly manner. But if the body is submerged under water, then of course the same has to be done. The head of the dead body should be submerged first of all, and then if possible the right side of the body and then the left side of the body should be submerged under water. And if there is enough water in the whole body is submerged under water, it is necessary that the person who submerges the dead body underwater, he should do it with the dead body's head. The head of the dead body should go underwater first of all, and then the rest of his body. As I said in the previous session, that it's not necessary, according to some scholars, to first of all wash the right side of the body and then the left side. But okay, some other scholars have exercised precaution. These are some of the rules related to ghusl. Inshallah, I will further carry on and explain the remaining ahkam, the remaining rules regarding ghusl. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا
يا ربنا
واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا